Get Fresh Books Publishing is a cooperative press and a 501c3 tax-exempt organization where our poets, editors, and the publisher create and pursue a vision for the writer's books. Our poets then bring their unique skills to the table to strengthen our mission. Our chief concern is to provide opportunities for underrepresented voices in publishing. We reject all the isms and phobias suppressing our voices. No to racism, sexism, ageism, gender identity discrimination, homophobia, Islamophobia, and economic disenfranchisement. Let's give a warm welcome to Get Fresh Book Publishing.
How's everybody doing? Thank you so much for being here. Our table is like straight ahead, and our poets are available to sign books and just talk about the poems after the reading. Please stop by and read some poems, check out some books. It's a no pressure environment. We got chairs and stuff, hang out. Please follow us on Instagram at GFB Publishing or Twitter at GFB Publishing. We're there. Our first reader is Mary Brancaccio, and she will be reading from her first full collection called Fierce Geometry, again available at our table right behind us. Mary Brancaccio is a poet and a teacher. Her poetry has appeared in Minerva Rising, Naugatuck River Review, International Anthologies, and 2 Writing for the Land anthologies, 2021 and 2022. Everybody please welcome Mary Brancaccio.
All right, thank you. Thank you for being here on this very, very hot day. I'm going to start with a poem that actually connects 2 deserts, one in North Africa, in Morocco, and Death Valley, California. Both of those places are experiencing extreme heat this summer. That's not what the poem's about, but it's a shout out to those beautiful places, and it's called Dirt and Rust. On that rutted road through the Midi-Atlas, I fell hard for Mohammed's deserts. First, startled by absence of trees and vast nothingness, I learned to spot the flowers in the dust. Bitter tang rose from camel turds, glistening with grass. Road apples. I made him laugh when I called them that. Our last trip together was his final gift. Even now, as I travel America's West, I compare his world and mine. Once, in Death Valley, at an old ghost town, I searched for remnants, rusted nails, cans hammered flat for shingles. I dreamt the storm song on a miner's tin roof as he lay, thoughts of the woman he'd send for when he'd panned his fortune from dirt. In the hills, wide alluvial fans mapped gathered destinies during rare rains, congruent paths, what he and I would never have, our lives touching for some years, like palms of life and heart that blend before diverging. He'd ask, what does it mean, hick? You're a real hick. Without translation, histories are lost. When the plane arrived without him, I stood for hours under the dogwoods, afraid to move, flooded with longing so deep I was sure I'd drown. I tried to remember our last phone call over that faint line from Rabat, his hope for a visa, his wait for an interview. When Fatima hennaed my hands, he sat between us to interpret. It took 3 hours. She traced each painted line with melted wax. To pass the time, she shared the story of her life, her husband in America, who took a new wife and left her waiting. All the years spent praying to Allah, imploring fakirs. She read my future in red clay. On my left palm, a rose. On the right, a brilliant red comet. Thank you. So I do a bit of dream work in my poetry, and this is one that draws on that dream work in sort of the surrealist tradition. It's called Corset Dream. I pluck a tick from my shin, then cherry blossoms. My ribs pry open like stuck sills, unleashing 10,000 moths, stirred ashes, grandma's hankies, coins with wings. I come to you loomed and wired, tattooed with sinew and vein. Beetle feet crawled through my vena cava, tangled roses. My bones, spokes from a bent wheel, useless as that 45 tumbling through my neuron jukebox. A cowboy croons, the more I learn to care for you, the more we drift apart. To the beat of a slam screen door, I am tattered coat, worn at the elbows, loose button, unraveled cuff, warm despite the holes. I need some thread, some needle wax, some vinyl scratch, some salt-stained glass, some shut-eye. My hand, hennaed like a bride's, waved goodbye on the tarmac, scattered red seeds in a tub, then closed over a worry stone. Thank you. So the next poem's a newer poem that I wrote. This one, I was on a poetry retreat in Cayman Brac, looking at fragile environmental spaces. And it's called Songs of the Dead and Dying. Young eye, what do you see when you look through the lace of a dead fan coral? As your sky, purple cloud pregnant with rain, cobalt of deep current, green curl of shallow wave, stained glass in the church where my father was waked, colors broken, rewoven, light bleeding through. Every tear is a tiny womb that carries a child of grief. All that is, all that was is transforming, evolving, adapting, becoming petal, becoming breast, becoming cup, becoming boat, becoming fire, becoming smoke. The lost speak in the vireo's voice, their light shining like silver fronds, blessed by morning sun. They dance in orchid scent, in plumeria. They send dreams. I am flying like a frigate bird above an ocean of endless waves. I am swimming in a cloud of parrotfish inside a cradling sea. The dying whisper through osprey's bone, in the femur of goat, in conk's cracked shell, in coconut husk, in ding of stone on the iron shore. Fragile, fragile, fragile. You have forgotten how fragile you are. The dead ask, how will you walk through the world if you close your ears to our song? How can you live without our grace? The dead and dying say, you will never heal alone. Until you dismantle the wall around your heart, your mourning will be an empty belly. always hungry, always devouring. I'm going to close with a final piece called Birthing Pigs in Kingman, Arizona. Birth, such grunting madness. Sow charges across her pen, red-eyed, all hooves and dirt. Blood and urine slush into mud beneath her trampling feet. So we dash to rescue each newborn as it drops. Here's the runt. Maggie passes me her tiny body, cold and pale, half my daughter's size at birth. Snorts and screeches of sow's labor carry in the wind this biting March dawn. I wipe placenta from her snout, urge this dying runt to life. Mother impulse, I tuck her in my shirt, near my heart, wear her as she sleeps. Her cool skin warms until it matches mine. Maggie trims the tails and canine teeth of every newborn, then counts. 16. Runt still alive? I look beneath my jacket. When I rub her bony chest, she stretches and whines. All night I cradle that pink-eared runt, feed her bottles of warmed cow's milk. Coyotes yap and circle the ranch. We doze across a moonless sky. A comet paints trails of green and yellow light. Thank you.
Up next, we have Dimitri Reyes coming through. Dimitri Reyes' first full poetry collection is called Papi, Pichón, and it is really, really dope. Dimitri Reyes is a Boricua multidisciplinary artist, content creator, and educator from Newark, New Jersey. Brick City! Dimitri's book, Every 1st and 15th, is the winner of the Digging Press 2020 Chapbook Award, and his poetry journal, Shadow Work for Poets, is now available on Amazon. Everybody please welcome Dimitri Reyes.
Okay. Hello, everybody. What's going on, mi gente? I am Dimitri Reyes from Newark, New Jersey. This is Papi Pichón. It translates to Father Pigeon. It's a myth story that transcends my grandfather, transcends myself, and transcends the people of Puerto Rico into people that live in dual identities, whether you're from the States, whether you're not from the States. I'm gonna read from this, but first I'm not gonna read from it. So I'll put this here so you can purchase it. It's in the back. All right. So this first one, it's really great that it hasn't really rained that much yet. So I'll start with a poem about hurricanes. Talk to the water gods to make sure none of that happens to us. And this is Papi Pichón navigates an easterly wave. When a hurricane starts from a kick of dust, what does that make us if not a god for releasing breath escaped from our mouths? Untraceable above 30 degrees, momentarily capable of sinking whole cities. Now everyone can start clapping because the poem's done. All right. So for you to learn a bit more about Papi Pichón, this is the poem that actually birthed Papi Pichón. It gave kind of precedence to some of this voice that would start meandering around the book. And this is Papi Pichón as rhetorical device. Papi Pichón flies out of my library book, but no one hears him because he chirps at Spanish to English dictionary speed. Don't dismiss Papi's beautiful wings, a saber, a grindstone attached to gold-plated breasts, a picture of many empty beers sprawled across a flag on the wingspan of a flying rat. Sin vergüenza, he ruffles its feathers, juts its pecker at an unknown roost, screaming, "Mira, mira, mira, I got your stereotypical Boricua right here," pointing at its pigeon butt. If this bird had a crack, it'd be the fault line where the carpetbaggers meet the campo. The winning lotto ticket my grandfather never scratches flutters out of that same library book, and Papi Pichón gobbles it up. It's been a long time since we've seen real gold and not the deceiving foil of a publisher's clearinghouse soul dream. It's been longer since the Puerto Rican was Borinquen, since coplas, decimas y bombas fetishized Borinquen reinas and Creole babies. Show me royalty, Father Pigeon, before you go up and up in flames, before you more burnt ash buried underneath more history, where the musicians and poets still sit on your pile of dust because you can still sing louder. Take me back to the antiquity that saw our angels in Ponce harvesting coca, making our heartbeats beat faster than our feet, stepping to the conga in Newark, stepping to the conga on Governor's Island. Papi Pichón wants me to follow him past Oscar Lopez Rivera during the Puerto Rican Day Parade. Before Commonwealth, where we squawk like coquis, before colorless, before the Bronx burnings, before our sea of earth, our sea of tierra even learned to speak Spanish. Ay Dios, tu ver al que me critique a mí, yo tengo agua ni le mai. Mother Botanica worth 99 cents of sliced bread into dough balls for breakfast. Saturday morning, very early, no butter, no mayo, just filled with my daily bread. Going to the Botanica on a half-empty stomach to fill yourself up on sweat guys and the tears of me. I am no air conditioner, although I need it. I am heat and murmur. You are not your world, but I am not this island. I am what you bring to me, the ding at the storefront, vibrations and shakers, greeting me in the language of your grandmama's swollen feet. Come into me, son. I am, yo soy, I am agua, Nile River rich. Scratch that. I am agua, Nile River rich. Scratch that. I said I am agua, Nile, agua, Nile River rich. Disguised in the espiritismo of hongo, sun, and alcoholado, my people come here still by the baskets. And when it is your turn to need me, I will be here for you. All right, I see that I only got one more poem, so the one I'm actually gonna do, I'm gonna end on a happier note that talks about guayaberas, the farmer clothing. I'm gonna talk about this one specifically because I had to drive about 2.5 hours to get up here, and on Spotify they give you these commercials, right? And I love how like Disney people, there's memes about it when they're like Latinas and they're Latinos, like it's a mojito and it's a piña colada, right? So I got my kind of like, I guess, stereotypical poem here about me going to buy a farmer shirt in a Macy's for $70. Papi Pichón shops for a guayabera in a department store. How I wish my silk shirt was a guayabera, short-sleeved and woven loose so the air could breathe through. The way the guayabera has power to make people wonder about limbs underneath flowy sleeves, forearms that rest on the waist of a lover that embrace family, carries boxes, the implications of hard-working biceps inside strong limbs. Muy macho, yes. Strong limbs with the tattoo, the diaspora hemmed through pockets over the heart. How I wish this clothing rack guayabera could turn any sun cup into that piña colada, shake my Tropicana into a mojito, instantaneously equipping it with an umbrella like the one I'd sit under wearing this particular guayabera. On the basis of customary fashion, allow me to publicly and humbly unbutton this shirt just slightly more. The craftsmanship of the threading making my chest more island lush in vegetation and less flattened crop on a farm. How I wish the guayabera was my uniform, a shirt with its own breath. If my face is caught burning red, so be it. I want the Caribbean stamp of approval. I long to talk with the ghost of the Taínos in the motherland. I touch a stitched shoulder and hear the croaks battle inside El Yunque when I run my hands down the seams to feel howling from these machines that make these $70 copies. In the middle of the department store, I put on this guayabera to witness myself getting backhanded in the mirror by every single ancestor that has ever existed in my lexicon. Purchasing the most expensive kind of farmer's clothes I know, I follow the numbered footsteps of dance charts filling in the shoes of history right out the door of Macy's. Yeah, just right, in my new guayabera, each time counting the money I spent. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that was dope. All right, coming up next. Again, we're Get Fresh Books. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter. It's just at GFB Publishing. Okay, get to know us. Our next poet is Mercy Tullis-Bukhari. Mercy is a poet, essayist, and fiction writer. She's a Callaloo Fellow and an MFA recipient in creative writing from the College of New Rochelle. Mercy was named one of the 8 authors bringing Afro-Latina stories to the forefront by Remezcla magazine and was a Pushcart Prize nominee for her essay, Black Dolls for Everyone. Her third poetry collection is The Little Deaths, and it is available from Get Fresh Books. Everybody give it up for Mercy.
Thank you. Hey, Dad. All right. Make sure you give him a handshake. Blue collar man, went to NYU, and retired auto mechanic. So, you know, I come from that. And I also come from, my heritage is Hondureña. So I'm going to dedicate this poem to my father, to my mother, to my fellow Hondureños. Let's do this. La gringa's first ride to Los Hondos. Esta gringa flew to Honduras when she was 5 years old on the lie that she was going to meet Mickey Mouse because esta gringa could not stop crying while boarding this monster-sized thing that was supposed to stay afloat high in the air. We flew from Kennedy Airport into clouds and over pineapple plantations and banana fields, cows roaming and campesinos working sand and beaches con hondos, strong as the ancestors pleading from esta gran gringa to go back. Once grounded, esta gringa asked, bueno, where's Mickey Mouse? Porque of course Mickey Mouse should be waiting for her on the tarmac. Mi mamá ignored the question, pushed me past the initial slap of hot, humid air, took her down the aircraft stairs, walked her across the tarmac into the building of the airport. We searched for our suitcases in a room where suitcases were thrown at random places on the floor. We were like roaches scattering when the light goes on, looking for our bags, yelling across the room, encontré una, when we found each bag. Mi mamá slipping a 10 US to the woman who patted the top of the tightly packed suitcases, clothes and soaps and shoes and more clothes and duct tape packages from Tia Melba y Tia Lorna y Tia Carmen, not really mis tías, for abuelita, fulano y fulano y fulano. We returned to the airport the following week for one missing suitcase. Esta gran gringa played futbolito barefooted in the sand that was her soil. In the confused gaze of neighbors, she swam in granules and poured buckets on her head. She washed it off her body in the big sink behind the house, the same sink mi mamá used to hand wash our clothes. She chased chickens, danced punta, ate la comida of split coconuts, heard su mamá yell to curious passerbys con orgullo, ella es una gringa, ciudadana americana. Esta gran gringa looks back at a time when being gringa actually mattered. She watched the Garifuna man walk to a canoe with a net, come back to shore with fish in his net. She watched the Garifuna woman take a fish from that net, escape the scales, and scrape the scales of that fish, split it open, salt and fry the fish con aceite de coco. Mi mamá squeezed lime on the fried fish y tajadas. Esta gringa ate fried fish con tajadas for lunch every single day. Yes. Y gracias a Dios, Columbus said, that Honduras saved his lost ass from the depths of the storm. Y esta gringa was saved from the contrived fantasy world of fake-believe dreams and its minstrel mouse. Thank you. This one's called Erupt Contain. Here you go. The sun, the moon, the stars, and everything in between, take my hand. Tell me your fears, your goals, your dreams. Let me feed you fried chicken y burritos and my heart length and feigned futures while I slip my hand between your deafening thighs. Watch the ghosts of the little depths dance around you, laughing at your expectations. Strip into my fingers after I make you come to the womanhood you so desperately suppressed. Lick my fingers, kiss me again, again, and again, but just so that you understand, just so that you also take this in, I must go back to her. My touch, your eyes make me want you more, your breath in my mouth, your taste in my life, my hand on your heart, my lips on you. I feel your heart murmur. Feel your heart remember a rhythm. I trample on the trails other men bird for me, drop burnt rose petals on the path to the cloak corners inside of you. Don't cry. Don't cry, don't cry, my pretty little whore, my what she does not give me, don't cry. Just turn around and bend over because you already know I'll go back to her. You know, you already know these things never end well. Look at me, watch me go to her like the green fairy dancing with the ghosts of your little deaths, like green dust from my absent eyes, float you to sleep. Yes, thank you. Yes, and my dad's right there. This one's called First Mammogram. I'm in the waiting room, wearing my pink hospital gown, waiting to be called. I watch shows about healthy options, about food swaps and demos of low-impact exercises. I can take a third of the pasta from a mac and cheese recipe and use cauliflower instead. For chocolate chip cookies, I can use half white flour and half whole wheat flour instead of all white flour. I must move daily according to that television and do my estate planning and will. A woman without hair walks into the waiting room. I'm not going to assume that her visit is a follow-up, simply because of where we are and her being bald. I'm going to start my estate planning and add whole wheat flour to my shopping list. Yes. Roberto, where are you? Oh, okay. One more? Okay. Hey, like that. Thank you. So this one is a Bronx poem. BX in the house. All day, always. Hell yeah. This is about my brother. And shout out to everyone who is struggling with mental illness and you don't feel seen, you don't feel heard, you don't feel acknowledged. My brother died by suicide in 1991. So I did a series of poems reflecting on not only the struggles that I imagine he could have been going through, but also the great times he and I had, that we all had as a family. Roller skating with Jesus on the Grand Concourse. I roller skate on the concourse past Art Deco buildings and bodegas. I use the strength of my legs to push me forward, the bend of my knees for momentum, the gaze towards the courthouse to keep my balance. Yet I fall. No, I did not wear any protective gear. I just rolled in the faith of myself. My knee, its skin scraped off, blood dripping. The scrape must have covered my whole knee. My brother tells me, good, you're learning. He kneels down and looks at the scrape. He walks me to an open hydrant and takes a handkerchief from his back pocket to clean the scrape. Yes, we used water from an open hydrant. And no, we didn't use Neosporin. We just roll with the faith of our bodies healing themselves. He tells me to sit on the edge of the sidewalk next to his Sunni boom box. He increases the volume. Give me a ho, you got your funky bus fare. Ho, ho, ho. His afro looks like a Jesus halo. The wheels grow from his feet. He moonwalks and spins and spins. First on both feet, then on one leg, makes undulations with unseen lines. He spins and spins and spins. Big bop bam, alakazam, like a record after a strong scratch release. Crossing his legs with his body tilted on one side, then switching direction with his body tilted to the other side. Then he falls. Yes, my brother fell. Even the best of them have to fall, right? A pebble made him fall. He smiles at himself, looks at me with the same smile and tells me, we all have to fall sometime, but we learn when we get back up. He held his hand out for me to get up. I took his hand and we skated, my Jesus and me, on the concourse towards the courthouse past Art Deco buildings. Thank you so much. Thank you. My books for sale right there, straight ahead. Check out this wicked cover. My name's Mercy Tullis-Bukhari. Come say hi. And yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, y'all, thank you so much for being so attentive, for being engaged and applauding. All right, mad love. Take it easy.